Hello. This is Christina Barr, and I mean it's not breaking anymore, but I'm sure you've heard by now, and that's why you're tuning in. But former President Donald Trump was at a rally tonight, and there was an attempt on his life. The media reports were very bizarre as these things started to break, and I don't know. They were saying that there were loud noises. They were saying that he fell. I'll show you guys some of those images. Trump already has a statement. He's okay. It did like hit his a bullet did hit his ear. Someone at the rally did lose their life. I don't know how many people at this point were injured. The gunman was killed. I did find a video, an interview of someone who saw the gunman as they approached. I found there's a clip of a man who tried to help someone who was shot there at the rally. So we'll talk about some of this stuff. This image of Trump with a bloody ear, with his fist raised. That's a really iconic shot, man. It's probably going to be, could be a statue one day. Thank you to those of you jumping in. Um, See you coming in. I know I didn't do my usual intro. I just wanted to kind of jump into things. So thank you guys for popping in. A pretty crazy night, a pretty crazy thing that has happened. I did a TikTok video earlier about, well, not too far early, just maybe about an hour or so ago, saying that the people who've been using hyper hysterical rhetoric, you need to stop. There's still more we need to learn about what happened, like what kind of security failure was this? How did that happen on that end? But why did this individual do what they did? But I mean, a good guess is that he's deranged because of politics. And I said people need to stop with the hyper hysterical. Oh, it's going to be the end of democracy, as if we didn't all live through Trump 20 in 2016, or 2017 is when his term would have actually started. We all knew what that was actually like. We've lived through Trump, and it wasn't what they claimed it will be again. And I'll show you guys some videos of some of the language that these people have used through the years. And recently, in an ad that Biden put out not too long ago with Trump, how the media just allows everyone to distort Trump's words to make it seem like he's some kind of tyrannical monster. And it's just unhealthy for the country. There's too many unhinged people. And someone tried to say, well, it's on both sides. And I didn't have time to address that person's comment yet. Both people, both sides of the aisle can use hyper hysterical language. It's true, but it's not comparable. And if you don't know that it's not comparable, then you don't pay enough attention to politics. You don't pay enough attention to politics. The language that Chuck Schumer has used. We're not even talking about just the crazy activists on the street. We're talking about actual political leaders. And I don't mean taking people out of context. But even things like Joe Biden still insisting to this day that Donald Trump called neo-Nazis very fine people. All of this stuff makes the country sick. Like, you're talking, I'm assuming you want someone to believe the rhetoric you're spewing, and it just causes eruptions like this. I don't want to hear people talk about, I don't know, after January 6th, people were just pretending like only the right could be violent, as if I didn't go to the inauguration and see people act a fool. As if my parents weren't calling us, making sure that we are okay, because there was people breaking windows and said someone set a limousine on fire, etc. Or that me and my sisters, were preparing to have to defend ourselves because they were fighting people in line to the ball. Like, I remember all that stuff. Yes, January 6th was awful, and that's one reason why it was so surprising that it happened, because it's not something that you see normally happen on our side. But the congressional baseball shooting, I knew some of those congressmen that were there. Some of them were from Michigan. And that person was like, this is for healthcare, as he was trying to kill them. Maybe because they were going around saying the Republicans were killing people because of the healthcare, because of what they were doing with healthcare. So I got some of these ads that folks used to run, some of them more, heightened ads that were effective. Don't get me wrong, but they're too hot. So hopefully we take all this tone down, but it's coming from the top. Joe Biden, it's coming from the top. And when you keep telling people that there's not going to be a country left, that there's going to be it's going to be the end of democracy. The end of democracy if people vote for someone. It's not the end of democracy when you guys try to keep someone off of a ballot and arrest them and do all those things are cool. People voting for someone you don't like is a thing that's going to end everything. Okay. So, so it's a Secret Service request for weeks for additional manpower, but it's fallen on deaf ears. We'll have to see. But I do I thank you guys for this unexpected joining me. I don't usually stream on Saturday, but it's quite the night. It's quite the night. So I don't understand the media's reaction to some of this. Some of their headlines. Let me show you CNN. I'm sorry that this is going to kind of be a little disorganized because like everything is just kind of happened so fast. And I didn't have a ton of time to prepare. So I've just, I've liked a couple things to kind of bookmark them. And if you guys can hear my neighbors at any point, I apologize for the noise. So here's CNN's original headline. Secret Service rushes Trump off stage after he falls at rally. After he falls at the rally. Here's the update. Trump injured at incident at Pennsylvania rally. Why would you frame it like this? I can understand not wanting to report to get it wrong, like if it was actually just firecrackers or something like that. But it's not like there's not media there, at these things that can verify kind of something that's going on. So someone being able to just like type something up and say loud noises, Trump fell, and your update is injured after an incident. What was the incident? It's not like they didn't know who the guy was. He came in with a rifle. At least according to eyewitnesses. So what's with this language? What's with this language? Here's USA Today. Trump removed from stage by Secret Service after loud noises startles former president. Yeah, gunshots tend to do that. They tend to do that. What is this? NBC News. Secret Service rushes Trump off stage after popping noises heard at his Pennsylvania rally. Okay. Trump injured in incident rally where you saw CNN. Los Angeles Times. Trump whisked off stage in Pennsylvania after loud noises rang through the crowd. Do they think their readers will never know what happened? I need someone to explain this to me. Kit Kat said, what did they expect? They called him Hitler for like 7 years. Yeah, I mean, I guess we could say, to be fair, we don't know exactly the motivation, but let's just say in general, there are wackadoodles and the country is in a very bad position because of continuous sort of rhetoric. And Biden said he was going to heal the soul of the nation. We always knew that wasn't true. If you've been paying enough attention, you knew Joe Biden was never that guy. but he started his campaign on a lie. Actually, he started on a lie. He had other reasons for running, but he decided to make it about Charlottesville. So he continuously kept saying that Trump called neo-Nazis very fine people, which wasn't true and was debunked by then at the time. If you just read no one should have believed that he called neo-Nazis fine people if you just actually listened to the videotape, if I'm talking about that. But Joe Biden, to this day, at the debate stage, he was still saying that Donald Trump called neo-Nazis very fine people, and it had been debunked by the moderator. As a matter of fact, a lot of people had debunked it. Snopes debunked it. And Joe Biden still wants to talk about it. Why do they still want to talk about it? Because painting this monster is the only way that they can win. And I got news for you, man. I don't see Biden winning. And if they replace him with someone, it would have to be a pretty magical person in their realm, to beat Trump at this point. I think too many people are kind of where they might have reservations are really fired up at this point, at least from what videos and different stuff that I'm seeing, which is, I don't know. It's such a crazy day because today I read an article about Trump and some of the tactics that they use at the RNC convention and with the platform committee, and I'm so angry, and I'm still mad about it actually. But and then this stuff happens. People, I keep saying this, people who know Trump and who'd be willing to vote for him, like different Republicans, can name more legitimate reasons to actually not vote for him than people who despise him. They have to make up all these legends. I was scrolling through TikTok, and a friend of mine was hosting a debate, or a mutual friend of mine. I've never met them in person, but the first day doing like abortion debates. And then now everybody's live switched to just talking about this. And so they had a panel, and there was this one girl, young African-American woman, and she said that the assassin had one job and he messed up. And people were like, don't say that. I would have kicked her after saying that. I wouldn't have let her be on my live anymore. I would have blocked her after I told her off a bit, or maybe I would have just blocked her. I don't know. But she said the couple things that she listed that she didn't like about Trump. She mentioned that he was a felon in the 34 counts. And anyone with a brain knows that case is really stupid. And she also mentioned that he has complete immunity to do whatever he wants. That's the current rhetoric, right? The Supreme Court ruled that Trump can do whatever he wants, including if he wanted to assassinate political opponents. And then there were actually people on Twitter, on TikTok, and other places that were saying that Biden should assassinate Trump to test the presidential immunity. So when people go out and they lie all the time, don't you think that there's some kind of consequence to the hysteria and just the toxins that you released? It's got to go somewhere. And unfortunately, it's gone into a lot of people's brains and corrupted their entire being. And we get a country that's so divided. This person, and I don't know all the reasons she might not like Trump, but from the ones she listed, Trump is a felon. That's true. His case was bogus. But I doubt she cares. But the reasons she presented are like fantasies in her mind. Absolute fantasies. And that's what the case with so many different people. But that's what folks are saying. Donald Trump can do anything. I'm going to play, if you guys recall, Biden's one of his latest commercials. And Biden Harris HQ shared MSNBC talking about this. Do you guys remember this?
Well, the Biden campaign certainly picked up on that, and they called him out for his rhetoric, posting a video montage yesterday of some of the other times he's excused or encouraged violence.
Now, if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath, and it's going to be a bloodbath for the country.
The bloodbath comment. We can keep watching the video, but the bloodbath comment, if in case you're unaware, he was at a rally and he was talking about the auto industry and the effects of the auto industry if Biden won. And he was saying it's going to be a bloodbath. And if you listen to it in its full context, it's very easy. I don't have the clip to pull it up for you guys. You're going to have to take my word for it or go back and listen to it yourself. Very easy to see that he's talking about the automotive industry. And they take it out of context. They took it out of context, pushed it. There's this one guy, Dan McKellen. I've talked about him a few times, but he's a critical Bible scholar, has a huge following on TikTok and also on YouTube. He was going around pushing like I've got a thing in linguistics and stuff, and this is what he meant, blah blah blah. And everyone's like, why are you taking the most uncharitable reading of this? That doesn't make any sense. And he also said something about like Trump calling asylum seekers animals or something like that. Like what? No, he's talking about the criminals who are coming in and killing people. So why are you spreading this? And I did a video about it. I'm like, if he can do this with like normal things that we can all see in like plain real time, what kind of misreading is he doing of the Bible? And I don't know if it's all just because he's a critical scholar and they have a skewed sense of how they study it, or he's a Mormon too, and so I don't know if he's discrediting some of the Bible so Mormonism can be better. I don't know what all the motivations are, but a lot of the content he does is silly. But he got a lot of fans. But he's a big lefty. And then this commercial goes on from the bloodbath mixing into Charlottesville. Trump didn't have anything to do with these crazy people saying Jews will not replace us. And do you see Joe Biden bringing the kind of energy that they're bringing to Charlottesville about all these people who are going to synagogues or going to museums and different demonstrations are upset, the college campuses kidnapping janitors or holding them hostage as they take over different halls. You don't see, like, they'll say, oh, everyone has a right to peaceful protest, and this, if it gets out of hand, that's bad. Very, very kind of light, like stop it, not any sort of real aggression like this is terrible, this is awful, you guys need to knock it off, and people will be held accountable for their illegal actions. Nothing like that. But they've been pushing the Charlottesville lie for years. But let's keep watching.
But you also had people that were very fine people on both sides.
Are you willing to condemn white supremacists and militia groups?
Proud Boys, stand back and stand by.
Please rise for the horribly and unfairly treated January 6th hostages.
There'll be a lot of pardons and commutations of January 6th defendants.
Yes, absolutely.
Tell your supporters now, no matter what, no violence.
And it's going to be a bloodbath.
And this is kind of weird. So Joe Biden, they posted that, and then MSNBC talked about it, and then Biden HQ just decided to retweet it. Just the vanity of all this is insane. Kit Kat said, I can't wait to see how The View is going to spin this. There should be a lot of interesting commentary, for sure. For sure. this image here. There's one that's a wider shot that Don Jr. posted on his page. I told my sister, I'm like, that they're gonna make that into a statue one day. Like you're be walking around DC, and it's, everybody around him with his hit. I don't know. It kind of gives me I don't know. It just gives me that vibe. Like all you need is someone with a holding up an American flag behind him. I guess it's just iconic. If I were the Democrats at this point, I would stop trying to replace Joe Biden. I would just stop, and I would just let that old man go down in flames. There's no point of them wasting their bench with somebody else. There's no point wasting their bench with somebody else. Kamala will lose anyway. Joe Biden might as well get all his pardons out now. He might as well try to do what he can, whatever executive orders he can. I don't know how you come back, because all this crazy stuff they've been saying that the right would do, someone has tried to literally kill Trump. And I gotta say, I guess I never said it wouldn't happen, but I would push back on when people say, I think someone's gonna assassinate him. And people would say that, like, if he gets back in the Oval Office, people would say they're concerned he'd be assassinated. And I would say, why would they even need to do that? And they're like, because they don't like him. I said, well, there's other ways that they can go about trying to stop him. Like to kill him seems like, I don't know, really messy and like a kind of a waste of their time to do all that. I mean, I'm like, they could impeach him. And then people will respond, impeach him for what? And I'm like, what did they impeach him for the first time? They didn't impeach him for a real crime. They wanted to impeach him from jump. From jump. They were waiting for something. And the more aggressive, like Democrats, they wanted to do it. They wanted to do it. And I guess they all wanted to do it, but they couldn't just do it for like no reason. Were for the absolute dumbest stuff. And so when the call happened with Ukraine, and they're like, oh, he's going after trying to use his power to go after his political opponent or whatever. That's what they said. That was really the crime, which, there was really no crime, but that's really kind of the real reason why he is impeached. The articles themselves don't have any kind of crime. So if they want to impeach him and they had the numbers, they totally just could do that again. There's all kinds of ways they could bog him down, but I didn't have this on my bingo card, certainly. For those of you who don't know, Trump, he is okay. He is okay. His ear did get grazed. Let me pull up the what he said, because he did write something on Truth Social. I heard Obama said something. I didn't see Obama's statement, but I know he said something. I did see Bush's. It was short. I mean, I guess it doesn't have to be long, but I did not see anything from Biden yet. If you guys saw something from Biden, you can let me know in the comments. But I guess I can go to his Twitter real quick and try to see. But people were like, where's the statement, Joe? He said, I want to thank the United States Secret Service and all law enforcement for their rapid response on the shooting that just took place in Butler, Pennsylvania. Most importantly, I want to extend my condolences to the family of the person at the rally who was killed, and also to the family of another person that was badly injured. It was incredible that such an act can take place in our country. Nothing is known at this time about the shooter, who is now dead. I was shot with a bullet that pierced the upper part of my right ear. I knew immediately that something was wrong, and that I heard a whizzing sound and shots, and immediately felt the bullet ripping through through the skin. Much bleeding took place, so I realized then what was happening. God bless America, in all caps. The God bless America was in all caps. So I'm glad he's okay. Glad he's okay. Let me hit up Biden's page really quick. See if there's, I mean, I know Biden doesn't write this stuff. I don't see anything on his, okay. There's, I've been briefed on the shooting at Donald Trump's rally in Pennsylvania. I'm grateful to hear that he's safe and doing well. I'm praying for him, are you, Joe, and his family, and for all those who were at the rally as we await further information. Jill and I are grateful to the Secret Service for getting him to safety. There's no place for this kind of violence in America. We must unite as one nation to condemn it. Oh, Joe. Let's look at some comments. You're the worst, said Not the Bee. And I say that full well knowing that Rosie O'Donnell exists. And Will Chamberlain said almost 2 hours between the shooting and this statement. People were saying, Life News said, why did it take you 90 minutes to say this? Bridget Gabrielle said, you're late. Someone said, your violent rhetoric caused this, Joe. And Wokeness said, you incited this by saying that Trump and his supporters would end democracy. You have blood on your hands, resign in disgrace. Greg here said, you were napping, or were you napping, or why did it take you over an hour to make a statement? Someone said something I'm not going to read out loud. People are pointing this out. Biden told donors on a private call this afternoon, it's time to put Trump in the bullseye. Now, that's obviously a figure of speech. But if Trump had said that, no one would say that was a figure of speech. As a matter of fact, there was it Sarah Palin put out some kind of graphic that had some targets on them, and I think it was like different places to target as far as vulnerable places electorally. And there was someone who was shot, and people were blaming Sarah Palin because of her graphic. So if the shoe was on the other foot, this would totally be folks, saying that Biden incited this and is the reason for this. Western Linsman said, you called Trump and his supporters domestic threats and endlessly fear-mongered the end of democracy. Resign. Yeah, the old man's not resigning. Your insane and violent rhetoric towards Donald Trump is what caused your supporters to do this. Will you apologize and change going forward? That's a weird one. People cursing, blood on your hands, your lies, hoaxes, and divisive rhetoric are destroying this country. So there's another image of Trump. Man, Trump is a showman, man. Man, he's a showman. I mean that as, and he just knows how to this is obviously a real scary situation. But he's just so aware of how to just take a hold of a moment. And as I said, like these images of him with his hand up in the air, those could be statues. I don't understand why it took so long for that statement, knowing that Kareem writes his stuff, his press secretary. And we know maybe it's not always her, but one day she wrote something on Biden's page that totally was something that should have been on her page. So people were able to point out that he doesn't run the account, which obviously he doesn't. This is something that was, I think, posted today. this morning, pro-Trump Christian extremists use scripture to justify violent goals, as Donald Trump is deemed a spiritual warrior. Okay. Extremism researchers warn of the menace embedded in the Christian nationalist rhetoric. Spiritual warriors fight in the spirit. I hadn't read that subheadline when I saved that, so I was. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. I'm gonna have to go back and actually read the piece to know the depths of how stupid it is. So many people write about things that they have no idea what is going on because they don't even care to know enough about the people they write about when they criticize them. That is so stupid. Spiritual warrior. Or maybe they know, but they know their audience is dumb and they hope that they'll take it whatever kind of way. Here's a clip of an emergency room doctor that tried to save someone's life in the crowd.
That's exactly where I heard him come from.
What did you see, sir?
I heard the shots. I thought it was firecrackers to begin with. Somebody over there was screaming, he's been shot, he's been shot. So I made my way over. I said, I'm an emergency department physician. Let me help you. The guy had spun around, was jammed between the benches. He had a headshot here. There was lots of blood, and he had brain matter there. And so I got him. There's a helicopter coming in to get him. So I got people there really helpful. I got
Was
him
there only
up
one
on the
person
bench.
shot that you saw?
Then I did CPR, did chest compressions, as well as I breathed for him.
One person.
I was the only one who did it.
We need to evacuate everyone.
You know what's wild about this? You know how many? I mean, I haven't been to one in a minute. I mean, I guess I almost went to the one in Detroit not too long ago, but at the church. But I wasn't gonna abandon. I was trying to get that picture of Trump signed, and I couldn't bring it in. And I'm like, well, I'm not. We're just gonna leave this in the car. So I just went home. But I mean, I've been to a lot of these things. I know a lot of people who go to a lot of them. For those of you who don't know, my sister works for the RNC. She was, which is technically fused with the Trump campaign, but she was hired in by she basically works right underneath folks with the Trump campaign, and she's like the urban engagement director. I think that's her title, and so she's been to, they have her going all over. She wasn't there that night. But this kind of stuff should not happen in America. Someone pointed out this old tweet from Biden. Whenever something happens, I think Stephen Miller reposted. Remember, every example of violence Donald Trump decries has happened on his watch, under his leadership, during his presidency. He said that August 27th, 2020. So people bring that up all the time. Someone brought up Jen Psaki, Eric Erickson said, remember when Jen Psaki and MSNBC took Trump's bloodbath comments out of context to suggest he's too dangerous and needs to be stopped? His comments were about the auto industry suffering from EV mandates. Psaki didn't care. MSNBC has been hoping someone would shoot Trump. I don't know about hoping, but I think that language is kind of strong. When you put this out in the atmosphere, like, what do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? And let's go back. Russia collusion, giving this idea that Russia installed our president. Craziest thing about that is that the Hillary Clinton campaign was the one that made that up. Hillary Clinton apparently signed off on it. What's actually the craziest thing about it, though, is that the CIA director briefed Obama and Biden about it before the 2016 election. And this narrative persisted continuously and haunted much of Trump's term as president. People wrote about Russia collusion, got Pulitzer prizes, and it was garbage. And Trump got frustrated with Comey because Comey, who knew the truth, by the way, wouldn't come out and just kind of say it and decry all this stuff. So he got rid of him. And because he got rid of Comey, it triggered the Mueller investigation. And Trump is all frustrated with it because he didn't do anything. And people are like, well, just let the process work. Let the process work. And he doesn't know if they're going to be like, fine, show me the man and I'll, show you a crime or find a crime or make a crime or whatever. He doesn't know at the end of the day that they're going to actually be like, oh, he didn't do anything. Now, he was vindicated, but that took a really long time. And you have people like Adam Schiff going on TV every day. Oh, well, something's coming. I've seen the super duper secret stuff. And former intelligence officials acting like, oh, something's going to happen, and nothing happened. Rachel Maddow going on TV every night getting gangbusters ratings. And that's another thing. All these people like Trump is terrible for democracy. Know that people were actually watching their garbage when he was president, and they were doing very well. A lot of people did very well, especially the media under Trump. Very well under Trump. So yeah, that's a big thing. Charlottesville, when you give so they gave the impression that Putin installed our president. They gave the impression that president that was installed is a neo-Nazi, believes that neo-Nazis are very fine people. Support, like, somebody died that day, and you want to push this narrative as if Trump was just fine and dandy with what was going on and that he wouldn't condemn those people there. And Biden continues to push that. When you tell the American people that this Nazi type person was the president and is going to be the president again, what do you think happens after you've broken their brains in such a way? They made it seem like there was a bounty on the Taliban, and the Russians were doing bounties on our soldiers, and that Trump knew about it and wasn't doing anything. That story wasn't true. And Biden was pushing it, said it at least a couple times. Well, a couple times on TV, I'm sure it was many times with his campaigning, even if it wasn't basically basement campaigning. That wasn't true. And then when Biden became president and they asked Jen Psaki about it, and she's like, she said what he said at the time. Like, no apologies. The losers and suckers thing. Just so many ways they tried to delegitimize Trump, telling everyone he said to drink bleach. All kinds of stuff. Peeing on Russian prostitutes. Do you remember that? All kinds of things. What do you think? People don't care about what damage they do to the country as long as they retain power. As long as they retain power. There was a there was an interview I think the BBC did with someone who saw the shooter. But I'm not seeing it. I know watched it, but I'll have to. Can't find it right now. I don't know if you guys actually saw the clip of the moment.
If you want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Okay, we are watching live. We do not know what is happening. We see Secret Service agents there with former President Donald Trump. This is at live video from Butler, Pennsylvania.
If you want to,
I can't believe they're there watching it live. People on the ground. He holds his ear. There's blood. And CNN still reported that he fell. Does it look like he fell?
if you want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
He literally ducked down. Oh, duck down. Like better even after hearing the noises, the whizzing in the air, he feels the flesh come apart in his ear. He still comes down pretty cool. Like not, I mean, he looked like no punk is what I'm saying. And that's a, terrifying situation. But he just ducked down. And they reported that he fell. They reported that he fell. Why? Why? The media is trash. I know they're trash, and I know we say that all the time, and I know there's a saying like, however much you hate the media, it's not enough. But this is so beyond. He's a former president, probably on his way, according to I know 368 or whatever. I mean, sorry, 568. I think it did a projection and said that Biden has a 51% chance of winning, whatever. Nate Silver said, I think the last kind of reporting was Trump was like in the 70s or whatever. But he's probably going to be the president again. We'll just say he's on that trajectory. So this is a huge story. So why wouldn't you want to get it right anyway? And it's very clear that he did not fall. Like I don't know how it looked exactly after he bent down. Like if he just kind of like bent down and then just collapsed on the floor. But that clearly just like was not a fall. So somebody's gonna have to explain this to me. Somebody's gonna have to explain this to me because I don't understand, guys. like here's another one. Trump's speech interrupted by Secret Service. Darn you, Secret Service. He was on fire and you just had to go ahead and interrupt his speech. It's so bizarre. So anyway, I said that I did a video on TikTok and I said this hyper hysterical language needs to stop. And someone said, well, it goes on both sides. And I told you guys that I said, well, I'm gonna say to them, but I'm saying to you right now that if you think it's like the same on both sides, you don't pay enough attention. So I want to I showed you guys Biden's ad that he did not too long ago, the video that they were sharing, taking the bloodbath comments out of context and mixing it with other things that they've just blatantly lied about, like Charlottesville and so on. But do you guys recall after Charlottesville, there was a video that was released, an ad, against Republican Ed Gillespie. And it was effective, but very despicable, for sure. So I'm going to show you this, guys. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's bizarre.
Is this what Donald Trump and Ed Gillespie mean by the American dream? Latino Victory Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertisement.
Yeah. So, pretty despicable. There are other ads that were pretty bad in the past, like different ads with Paul Ryan, like literally throwing grandma off of a cliff. I did find one of those ads from the past, if you don't recall. Yeah, Granny right off the cliff. So, garbage stuff. When the congressional baseball shooting happened, and I think I already mentioned this to you guys, but there's some of the Michigan delegation was there. I know some of the people who were there and nearly lost their lives. According to Senator Rand Paul, he said that the shooter was saying this is for health care as he was trying to kill them. And so he was a Bernie Sanders supporter and stuff. And Bernie Sanders isn't responsible for what someone else decides to do, but people are responsible for their particular rhetoric and what they decide to put out into the world. And, I don't think anyone really wants to do anything about like Medicare or Medicaid or, Social Security, anything like that. But Ben Shapiro was on Bill Maher show the other day talking about like, no. It wasn't Bill Maher. It was when he was going up against like Eric Swalwell, because he was talking about Project 2025, and he was listing a couple things. And he's like, well, what do you think we should do about Social Security? And he's like, every single person in the Congress and the Senate knows that if they don't do something about this, it's going to go bankrupt and not going to be able to be used or whatever. But no one wants to do anything because they don't want to have the hard conversation. So everyone's just kind of lying about it. So, so when people would try to have some decent kind of responsible conversations about it, they would, say stuff like that. But when they wanted to do things about Obamacare or whatever, they're saying they're going to take away all this health care. They're going to, they're going to kill people. They're going to kill people, which is interesting because there is a policy that the Democrat Party at large supports that literally does kill people, and it's abortion. But they do all this hyper hysterical stuff about everybody else, leading to everyone else's demise. And in case you're like, Christine, you don't say hyper hysterical thing. No, that abortion is like, it is killing a child, you know. Maybe you don't see it that way, but that's what it is. But Paul Ryan is literally just throwing grandma off of a cliff. So no, the rhetoric between both sides isn't the same. I was really disappointed when I saw like Jan 6 happen. I was just baffled, and I thought that shouldn't have happened there. I thought and I mean like the rally and stuff. When I found out Trump was doing a rally that day, I was like, that doesn't sound like a good idea. And apparently Trump was like, that sounds like a lot of people. Let's get some National Guard, and they didn't really want all the National Guard there. So it just kind of sounded like a setup. And I don't mean like everybody in the crowd was feds or something like that, though it seems like, you know, there was a one guy who well, I don't know, they're out here suing people, so I don't want to say too much, but it, you know, some stuff just seems suspect. There are definitely people who rioted and busted doors and broke in and did all kinds of crazy stuff, and should have been prosecuted and arrested. But some folks, not everyone, you just have to look at the cases by case basis. You know, some folks, they were aggressive and kind of scary from some stuff that I saw. And some people were literally walking around and praying. But man, if only they could track down all these illegal aliens the way they tracked down January 6 people who walked around the Capitol. If only they just had that vigor, you know, to get those people. Just looking at your comments. Hillary called us deplorables. Obama said we are bitter clingers. Yep, can't forget that comment. Who cling to our guns and our Bibles as if we have anything else to cling to. Yeah, but Trump is the divisive one. I mean, Trump can use some hot language sometimes, and you know, but it's nothing like the left. Like Chuck Schumer said something, you know, decrying what happened, and people are pointing back to Chuck Schumer's comments about, you haven't seen anything, Kavanaugh, and blah blah blah, and you're gonna reap the whirlwind. Let me see if I can find it, and maybe I retweeted it. I think I retweeted it. Maybe not, but you know, people are just pointing out that he said crazy stuff. And another violent thing, that someone tried to kill Kavanaugh, tried to assassinate him, and they allowed all these people to protest outside of the homes of the justices and didn't arrest all those people. That was crazy. That was crazy, because they were clearly trying to intimidate them and get them to change the ruling over the Dobbs decision in overturning Roe v. Wade. So I don't know if you guys saw this image. This is I wonder which one of these images is going to win like image of the year. I mean, but that's a historic shot. I mean, I didn't think there'd be like, there's the mug shot, and then there's this. This is what's going to be in people's minds when they go to the ballot box. It's going to be this. It's going to be this. The Democrats better wrap it up. It's over. There's no point. I mean, switching up stuff at the last minute is a risk. And their best bet would be switching out Kamala and Joe, because she's the actual vice president, you know. But people don't like her. But I am of the opinion that they will kind of get over it, because she's a woman of color, blah blah blah, etc., and they can't just jump over her because woman of color, blah blah blah, etc., and replace her with like a Whitmer or somebody else like that. So the best bet was Kamala. Joe Biden didn't like totally die during his press conference the other day. It wasn't great, but you know, he lived through it. So they can't force him out really. And but it's this cycle. This time last year, I was just like, there's no way. There's no way. I'm like, there's too much going on. The indictments, I'm like, there's so many, and not even like that I thought all the charges would stick or were worth sticking, you know. Some of them I knew was going to be bad just because what places they were where they were taking, you know, place in or whatever. Like the Bragg case, I'm like, this case is stupid, but it's in New York, so it doesn't look good for him, you know. But I'm like, the Georgia case, you know, I don't see how they're using RICO against him. Doesn't seem like it's right in the least bit, but they were going to televise it. And there were some things that, you know, behaviors or whatever that I didn't think they were going to be very flattering for him. But then one thing after another, domino after domino, just continued to fall. Fani Willis and her affair with her lover, she worked with her, and you know, all that blew up that case, delayed it, the case of her life. She should be a laughing stock forever. My sister knows, you know, just a lot of different lawyers or whatever professionals. They're just floored that she could allow something like that to happen, to jeopardize the biggest case of her life. Just that blew up. A lot of stuff with Jack Smith blew up. There's still some things that they can probably try to get him on, but obviously nothing is going to happen until after the election. And it's looking like he's going to win there. And the Bragg one was so stupid. Like I told you guys how I was talking to a relative of mine about who she's a Democrat, but and we've had many political conversations. So I was floored when she said that she wanted Trump to be back in office. And so later I ended up explaining the Bragg case, what happened. And she said, oh, so they treated Trump like they treat black men. So most normal people, when they look at the case, they're like, oh, that sounds like garbage. So that'll be overturned eventually, you know. And then they delayed the sentencing. He was supposed to yesterday. I think yesterday, the 12th. That was supposed to be the day that they gave him the sentence. I'm like, is he even going to be able to go to the RNC convention? Is he going to have to do a virtual thing from Mar-a-Lago, house arrest? Or I don't know what they're going to do. And then they delayed it. I think it's for September, maybe. And it's just wild. Again, one thing after another just worked out in his favor. It's really incredible. Really incredible. Now, as I said, I'm still upset about the platform stuff. I talked about it already. And I shared an article this morning about some of the tactics that they did, but I'm not going to go too much into it here because, you know, it's just, I guess, not the time. But let's just say the tactics weren't good. Go ahead and read the article I posted. If you know any representatives who are any delegates going to convention, please urge them to amend it. And I guess that's all I'll say on this stream about it. But full steam ahead, man. This Trump train is not being derailed. They might as well pack it up. And then to not have anything really profound to say as of late. Let me see if there's anything else. No, from what I'm seeing, just looking it up, it's still just I've been briefed about it. I don't. There's something from 18 minutes ago reporting. Oh, there's no place in America with this kind of violence. He said it's sick. It's sick. It's one of the reasons why we have to unite this country. You cannot allow for this to be happening. We cannot be like this. We cannot condone this. Well, any person in his position would obviously not condone this publicly anyway. That's not good enough. That's not good enough. I don't expect Joe Biden to take responsibility for his rhetoric, but I would hope that they would at least have some common sense and or just decency. Let's throw the common sense out. Let's just say a little bit of decency and just pump the brakes on this, the end of democracy, rah, rah, rah speech that they've been saying forever. Because if you're saying if this man wins, it's going to be the end of democracy, he's a Nazi, he's a Russian, he's all these things. What do you think folks are going to, you think people are just going to sit back on their couches and be like, oh yeah, watching the betting go up when Trump's rise and the Joe numbers his poll numbers go down. You just think everyone's just going to be cool with that and there's not going to be any kind of civil unrest. Knock it off and just be honest with people. Just debate the issues. Just debate the issues, man. And the craziest thing about it is if Joe Biden was just better at his job, January 6th should have just annihilated Trump, destroyed any sort of prospects for him being president again. And the continuous I won 2020 fraud, this fraud, that, regardless of how you feel, it's not popular in general election. He talked about fraud on the debate stage. It should not be close, even though Biden is bad. If he just made some different decisions, and they know they're wrong, and they know they're just driving off of a cliff. The border is insane to me. Insane to me how they treat the border. At least he could do remain in Mexico and call it something else and pretend like Trump never did it. Like they did with the drug prices and insulin. Just rip off Trump's idea and pretend you came up with it or whatever. You don't just call it in Mexico you must remain. And just pretend Trump never did it and gaslight everybody and fix the border for a little while. I don't understand why you wouldn't even do that. And you might say, well, Christina, because they want all these people in from everywhere, and if they have so many numbers coming in, then it's just gonna fundamentally change the country, and it won't matter at the end because I have so many new voters or so many demographics or whatever changing the landscapes that Republican Party will basically be over. I understand that sentiment, but you still have to win at some point, and they are risking his seat and everybody else's. Folks are so concerned about the down ballot effect of Joe Biden that he's going to just cripple the entire ticket, and they should be crapping in their pants, which I'm sure Biden does from time to time. It just depends, but they're crazy. They're crazy. Someone said Trump looked like he was praying, I guess, when he was on the ground. Maybe he was. I hope he was. I hope in a situation like this, as near death, which I'm sure there's been a lot of situations where, I mean, his life is on the line every day. But he was shot at and was hit. He survived. I would pray that this inspires him to get closer to God. Like, I know he has a spiritual advisor, which is Paula White and other folks, and he has friends that are pastors and so on. But and I believe he respects faith in Christianity and so on. But as far as what we're able to observe through to the spirit, I just would say that he still needs a lot of help and let's say deliverance in some areas. But I would pray that this is kind of a call, a wake-up call in some regards, to seek an actual deeper relationship with God and to just alter him and make him a better human being. And maybe some of the things that we're not too happy about, they'll course correct. We'll see. Well, I guess we'll hope with some stuff, but I don't see him not winning after this. I don't see it. So trying to see what else we're about at an hour now. I don't want to just keep kind of rambling. I appreciate you guys hopping on tonight. Again, it's an impromptu sort of live. Check some of my favorite accounts. See if oh, okay. He did say something. I missed that he spoke. Okay. I mean, this is a little snippet. I'm sure he spoke longer than this, but
thoroughly briefed by all the agencies in the federal.
Let's see if we can actually find like the full thing. Oh, looks like it is very short. Maybe that's the whole thing. There's one that's only like 2 minutes and 18 seconds. 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Yeah, it is. Is this? It's not live. Was it just that short? Okay.
Government as to the situation, based on what we know now. I have tried to get a hold of Donald. He's with his doctors. He's doing well. I plan on talking to them shortly, I hope, when I get back to the telephone. Look, there's no place in America for this kind of violence. It's sick. It's sick. It's one of the reasons why we have to unite this country. We cannot allow for this to be happening. We cannot be like this. We cannot condone this. And so I want to thank the Secret Service and all the agencies, including the state agencies, that have been engaged in making sure that the people who, and we have more detail to come relative to other people maybe injured in the audience. I don't have all that detail. We'll make that available to you. I may be able to come back a little later tonight, but we'll put out a statement if I'm not able to if it's not convenient for you all. But the bottom line is that the Trump rally was a rally that he should have been able to be conducted peacefully without any problem. But the idea that there's political violence or violence in America like this is just unheard of. It's just not appropriate. And everybody must condemn it. Everybody. I'll keep you informed. And if I'm able to speak to Donald, I'll let you know that as well. But so far, it appears he's doing well, number one. Number two, that they're thoroughly investigating what happened to anyone else in the audience. We have some reports, but not final reports. And every agency in the federal government, I'm going back to my phone to speak with the federal agencies that are being put together again to give me an updated briefing. Has anything happened? They learned any more in the last couple hours. So thank you very much. And I hope I get to speak to them tonight, and I'll get back to you if I do. Okay?
Mr. President, do you think there was an assassination attempt?
I don't know enough I have an opinion, but I don't have any facts. So I want to make sure we have all the facts before I make any more comments. Thank you.
Obviously he was trying to kill him, so those weren't tickle me Elmo bullets, so I don't, anyway, that was really short, but I guess there's no more that he knows. If I was Trump, I don't know, I couldn't just be cool with all this stuff that goes on. Like, I couldn't just be cool with people lying about me being a white supremacist for like 7 years. I couldn't be cool with those kinds of people. I feel like, hey, people were going around saying you're a Russian agent, and I knew from jump that Hillary Clinton made that up. Boy, that's hilarious, right? No, I just couldn't be cool with people like that, not me. Couldn't be me. So I guess if the president calls you, you normally take that call. But I'd be like, are you gonna take down your lying videos, Joe, about Charlottesville and so on? Are you gonna accept accountability for your rhetoric that you put out there in the atmosphere? Don't get me, you can find like stuff that's not responsible that Trump says or whatever too. Don't get me wrong, but to the level of what they put in these ads with Trump's words and morphing them and mashing them and mixing them. I mean, I know I've done it as like a joke, but these people aren't joking. And when I say I did it for like a joke, I did a video with Joe Biden being like Satan or something. You haven't seen it. And the DNC logo was like a pentagram. Was like a star, and then it fused it with like with satanic symbols. If you haven't seen it, maybe I can find it real quick. I'll link it or something. I'm not gonna play it right now, but I don't want to get dinged by the copyright, and it had like music by it was I don't know it was a horror film or something. So but I clearly meant it as a joke. Now some people were like, that's right, this is scary, Joe Biden's, I'm like, guys, it's clearly a joke. But Joe Biden doesn't, they don't mean this stuff as a joke, even though they're lying about stuff. So if you happen to be stumbling upon this, and you are one of these people who actually are crazy enough to believe that we're not going to have a democracy left if Donald Trump becomes the president, stop it. Which is just shut up. It's not true. It's silly. But the people who have convinced you of this thing, they know it's not true. They know it's not true. but they'll say whatever they have to say to get elected. Hillary Clinton, after Donald Trump was elected, she went around saying he knows he's not legitimate. He knows he's not. He knows something is wrong. Like his win wasn't real, insinuating that that there was cheating or interference or that he was installed or whatever, Russian collusion, knowing good and well that it was her plot to distract from her emails, which she's lucky she wasn't in jail or whatever, and then Trump let it go. All this stuff is so wild. We got of course they need to keep it short. They're worried Sleepy Joe will slip and tell the truth. That the Democrats become so desperate, the only chance they have to win now is to off Trump. It's 5:38. The reason why their calculations, I guess, are different with Joe Biden winning is because they take different things to account besides, I guess, the polls. They're also looking at the economy and other stuff like that, which I don't know how they're really looking at the economy, because they may report certain things about the economy and inflation and other stuff, which the headlines, a lot of stuff aren't accurate, but people's perception about the economy isn't what they're selling in the media anyway. So I don't know how you really figure that into your calculations. I don't think that's a good sort of bet there. But I'm sure election gets closer, things get tighter, polls get tighter, or whatever. One of the reasons why they wanted the debates early is because they didn't want it, I think, too fresh in people's minds. Maybe they thought all the stipulations Trump would back out, but really they needed something to change the narrative. And boy, did they make a narrative with the debate performance with Biden doing so terribly. But anyway, there's just other opportunities. There's so much left in the race, right? So much time left. So it's not that it was impossible for him to win. Like I said that if the Democrats want to win, they could just be honest, because there's stuff that Trump did, stuff that Trump is doing, or the campaign and RNC did with the platform and stuff. The evangelicals are really mad about it, and there's people saying that I'm not voting for a party that doesn't stand for life, or I'm not voting for a candidate that is convincing all these other candidates to back away from life. So if they wanted to play into that division there, and somehow twist the knife there's opportunity there. But that's not. They want to go democracy. It's going to end. They just go this super hyper hysterical route, and they're pushing Project 2025. And excuse me, I wrote a post about it on YouTube, and I'm like, Trump didn't read 900 pages. I'm not reading 900 pages. Most of you didn't read 900 pages. And someone in the comments was like, well, I actually did read it, and I agree with like 90% of it. And I'm sure there's many things. I mean, that Heritage and other think tanks or whatever, I guess, made it up. And I'm sure there's probably maybe, I don't know, a lot of things in there that I probably agree with, I assume. I just, maybe I'll skim it, but I ain't reading the 900 pages. It's not that deep. But that's their boogeyman. Anything to distract from Biden's performance and inflation and, how unsafe the streets are, how the cartels run our border, all the fentanyl coming in. But with January 6th and election denial, just so many things, people, I'm sure, would love to find a reason to not support Trump, but they can't if Biden is just super trash. And all they had to do was just be kind of competent to give people a reason to pull the trigger for Joe instead of Trump. And they can't even hack it a little bit. So their loss will be spectacular. Because I don't see I don't see them being able to come back from this. Unless even if they're like, hey, can we replace Joe with Michelle, please, please? And if Obama was cool with it and somehow they convinced Joe like to step aside and they got big bad Michelle with, I don't even know at this point, if that would really be enough, considering that it would be last minute, a swap, and would people feel that was okay? Plus, she doesn't have experience, What did she do besides ruin school lunches, So term 2 seems kind of inevitable. And you know what? The press did crazy well. They got good ratings. The grifters did very well. The pro-Trump people, the anti-Trump people, the never-Trumpers, and so on. They got their pockets made fat during that time. Everybody else did pretty well. People got tax cuts. Even people who didn't want to acknowledge that they benefited, they still benefited, did they not? The economy was really good. Everything until COVID. Someone today was like, Donald Trump, he's the only president that had negative jobs after. I'm like, when he left office. I'm like, dude, why are you speaking as if we didn't live through COVID? I feel like you guys destroyed jobs just so you could have this talking point. And every time I see Biden push out that infographic with negative jobs with Trump, it ticks me off. It ticks me off because I know they're willing to destroy the country just to stop this one man. That's what's really scary, is the lengths they'll go to stop him. All the hoaxes, the media playing along with the bloodbath comments and the very fine people hoax, and Joe Biden wanted to use the Logan Act on Michael Flynn and all kinds of stuff. All kinds of stuff. I have an article on my website about how Joe Biden is actually the bigger threat to democracy. And our institutions should be very ashamed of themselves for pushing this division. And I hope that people can focus on policy now and we can just stop this nonsense. Just take the L like a champ, because I'm sure you're going to get it. Anyway, I'm going to call it a quits there tonight. And if there's something else that's kind of crazy breaking, maybe we'll chit chat tomorrow. But I'm thinking I'll probably see you guys on Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern time at my normal time. Thank you guys for watching. Please go to blacktnews.com, check out different content on my website, articles, videos, etc. If you like what I do here, please consider leaving a donation on the website, because it does cost to stream and run my site and all that good stuff, so you guys can support. I do appreciate it. And you guys can check out different books that I've written. I have 18 altogether that are published. 2 are nonfiction, like Slay Your Fear, How to Overcome a Spirit of Fear. And then I also have my book, of course, God is Blatantly Against Abortion, that's available as well. Please go check out that stuff. I didn't show you guys any merch. I got the I'm Not the Victim You're Looking For shirt. It's really cool. I got the goat hoodie and the goat t-shirt there. You guys can get at the website. And I do have them in different colors if you're concerned about it's smut, spilling something, or in my case, it's smudged makeup everywhere. But I do have a white one. It comes out with a bleach, I guess, but just kind of spot doing whatever. But I have it in different colors you guys can find at the website. So go ahead and check out that stuff. I have the Denounce White Supremacy, Defeat Joe Biden shirt with a list of some of his racism on the back. So anyway, that stuff is on the website. And again, if you would like to support, you guys can go to the donate page. If you're watching back later, if you want to give stars, you can. And I guess it's late for super chats, but you guys can do super thanks and stickers and stuff. God bless you guys. Enjoy the rest of your night. I'm going to probably hop on TikTok for a little while. So haven't done a live there, but it's a crazy night. So I'm going to go ahead and hop on there. So if you're on the app and you follow me there, that's where I'll be. I'm not going to do like a big panel. Some people do a lot of panels and have a lot of people up. I might do like one at a time. But anyway, God bless you guys and good night.